Hi, I'm Naya Shanti, and I'm here with another podcast to talk to you about the joy of living. And much of what I do comes from my joy in my own life and many things that I've done to find a way to really not only access that joy, but then to be able to also spread it out to a community of people. And beginning many years ago with children and their parents and helping children with autism and their parents cope with the situations in a way that was serving everyone involved, to doing teaching in schools with kids and then teaching of many methods and finding that teaching is a practice that allows for all of my joy to show itself and just to shine through my heart. No, I didn't always find this in the elementary schools when I was student teaching. I found disciplinary action to be rather challenging. And even my parenting style is rather open minded, I would say, not free range, but rather open minded. I want kids who can think for themselves. Sometimes that backfires. But let me tell you about the joy because I am a single mother. I struggle at times, but I have no lack of joy. I can find it in any situation, in any corner. And when it escapes for a moment, I know it's going to return. So I want to talk about how to have that joy of living on a consistent level. In this background, we could say this foundation or basis of just knowing everything is going to be okay, no matter what. Now, one thing that Moshe Feldenkrais said that I love is that every problem is figure outable. Every problem is figure outable. And if we think about problems in that way, we may not know what to do right away, but we know every problem is figure outable. It's just about our timing, right? We want it done now. And how many of us have the patience to sit there and wait for it to be taken apart and to think about it? And we really do this process so intensely rather than just taking a moment to breathe. And the biggest secret, and I mean the biggest secret that we are taught the opposite of in school, is to stop memorizing and stop grasping for ideas. When we memorize, we are letting go of the ability for things to flow through our brain in a natural process that's organized because we're gripping. So when we forget something, the only way to remember is to let go of the needing to remember. Let go of the gripping. Very similar to Buddhism. Grabbing the monkey in the box and then your hand gets stuck in the box because you can't let go of the gripping. So letting go of that gripping is a big part of accessing joy. And that's not to say that there aren't situations in life that will cause you to grip, but how many opportunities do you have to take a moment to breathe and take in the reality of what's happening? Not the story you've told yourself about it, not the story someone else has told you about what they feel or think or understand about it, but the actual story, because there's no right or wrong or good or bad. So whatever you're going through, it's fine. I've probably been through better and worse, and so have you. It's just where we are. So why wait for the happiest moments to find joy? Why do we wait for joy when it's available in every moment? And I know a lot of people might work and think they have to delay their joy. I found many people with jobs that are satisfactory that find a way to bring joy into the workplace. Now, that's not to say that it can't be a challenge to find joy, to consistently remain positive. That's not at all what I'm saying. Because joy doesn't come from just being positive all the time. That is a show that we put on to make others think everything is just okay. But no, real joy comes from having times where we suffer, from having really dark, deep moments where we need time to recover and time to rediscover and time to get to the depths of our soul What things have we been hiding from ourselves for years? And when they come to the surface, that's not when joy is happening, but I can tell you that all chaos is the birth of peace, and all dark nights of the soul are the birth of joy. That's not to say that after you go through a hard time, you have to travel just as darkly every time when you know that joy is going to be there somewhere on the other side. So knowing that takes off a lot of the weight of what you're going through. I mean, when we think about any problem and take it apart, if it's urgent, we know we need to deal with it right away. So we can break it down into steps and do them one at a time without expecting ourselves to go any faster than as is acceptable to our own access of our time and energy and attention. Because if we push ourselves, we will not get efficient work. We will get rushed, hurried, anxious work done. So the more we can accept one step at a time through a process that may be overwhelming or urgent, the easier it will be. And if you're feeling overwhelmed because, like me, you've got a million projects going on and you just don't know where to start, just begin somewhere. It doesn't matter where. Spend 5 minutes a day on something and just build up. And if it doesn't work, let's say at the end of the day, it didn't fit your schedule the right way, or you didn't feel motivated, or it wasn't long enough, write a note about that. And the next day, notice, what can I shift and change to allow for more joy to flow into this experience? If we are the authors of our own creative story here, we can easily, at the end of the day, narrate and write what worked and what didn't, because every day is a chance to improve upon the previous day. If we stay stuck and we don't grow and we don't evolve, we end up stuck in our habits and our vocabulary lessens over time, our social ability lessens over time, even our intellect starts to dwindle rather quickly. So we want to do things that challenge us. We want to go through the hard emotions when they arise. And we want to be okay, male or female, expressing them. And we can go somewhere quiet, but there's no reason for anyone to suffer with shame and blame when all you might need to do is cry because life was just really hard for you right now. Because there's no reason you need to feel shame or blame. I can tell you that right now. They're not useful. You can use blame in an instant for something to help you take an action, but don't hold on to that. It's toxic. All you want for yourself is love. And when you start radiating that inward, your life will explode with joy. I started small when I recovered from my last illness with dancing. And dancing through feeling what I felt in the moment, what wanted to come through me, and then writing the 2 books I've recently written, what wanted to come through me. One was fantasy and one was nonfiction. And as you know from the work that I do a variety because what wants to come through me one day is totally shaped differently the next. And that applies to my work. One way I keep joy alive for me is novelty. I enjoy being consistent with action. I also enjoy finding new and novel ways to do things, just as we did as children, just as inventors do to create something new that we've never seen. I think that process really brings me a lot of joy and expanse. Other things I do to be consistently joyous are to understand that every moment of my time is very precious. I'm dedicating a lot of it now to outreach because I believe that I have a message that can reach many, and I'm hopeful that it will. And that's what's bringing me joy in between spending enough time being a mother, working other jobs, and doing things that I love. Honestly, I love all of it. I've learned to love what's hard because it was what was given. It was the curriculum. And I love my kids. They're a challenge, but who doesn't love an opportunity to shape and mold the minds of young ones so that they can be the change. That's not to say I'm assuming I will succeed, but no matter what happens with my kids, no matter how they turn out, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be joyful because I'm not going to allow my joy to be dampened by outside circumstances because the world is chaotic and that may not change anytime soon. So I can't bet on what's going on out there to serve what's going on in here. I have to start here and say, I'm going to fill you up every morning with joy, health, hydration, love, support from myself. And from that place, we will move. And when you feel overwhelmed, I am here. And yes, I do talk to myself, and I do think it helps. I honestly started meditations years ago for myself, and even my first book I wrote was a manual for myself. And then I thought, should I share? I even made lessons for myself. So if I love them enough to want to do them over and over again, I thought someone else might too. And I've had some miraculous healing in my life. There's nothing that I can't be joyful for. The last time that I healed, all fear I've ever felt dissipated in a way where it can't really surface in a substantial way to take hold of anything, to take me down, to even take away the essence of beauty. So I notice it, I love it, and integrate it. And that took a long time to get there. And Feldenkrais was part of that, but so was spirituality, which is why I do so many meditations on my experiences. I've had a lot of connection with ancestors. I'm Native American. I'm also Dutch. So there are connections that I have that deepen my spirituality. And while I don't talk to my, what was my immediate family growing up, I have connections to family that I didn't grow up with that are just fascinating to me. And we are so much alike. And what I love about these people and the very few friends I keep, and this is the secret for my joy, is I know people and I find those people who hold space for me. Now, what does that mean? Holding space for someone means when they tell you something, you're not there to judge them. You're not there to have a reaction of sorts. You're not there to respond. You literally hold space in your heart while they express from a vulnerable place. And after that expression, you might honestly tell them how you feel. And if you've taken it into your heart, you have a pretty good idea of what beautiful thing you can say next. So that is holding space. And I have friends that do not only that, but I would call it holding your tongue, but it's more of a pause before speaking because the people I love and know want to make sure every word they say is not only in alignment with their truth, but it's honest, kind, and compassionate. And living in this way brings a ton of joy. Now, other things I do to connect with joy are I connect with nature. I've learned to sing animal calls and connect with different animals and learn more about them. I have a dog, so I walk a lot in the woods. I've been walking barefoot in the warm weather for the last 3 to 4 years. And I love that feeling of feeling connected to earth. There's nothing more joyful than that at times. Sometimes I sing my own music, make it up as I walk, or I'm listening to something. Usually not, because if someone approaches me, I want to be available if they're in that space where they want to connect. So those are many of the things I do to find joy. The things I do to avoid lessening my joy are also important because they involve giving myself a maximum amount of grace, never feeling like I did anything wrong because everything can be learned from. I'm someone who grows and evolves and learns. I know that if I make a mistake, there's a reason for it. And in the moment, I have to forgive anything I feel completely toward myself to continue to move on. I have to be soft and kind to myself in the way that I talk about things, in the way that I talk to myself about being a parent, in the way that I might think I should compare. I've decided that that doesn't serve a purpose. It serves a comparison and a separation. So I accept myself the way I am. And from there, I have more ability and flexibility to move in any direction because there's nothing I can't accept. I am fully here. I am fully embodied, and I'm not perfect. And once we accept that we're not perfect, but we're the perfect version of the struggle that we are, we start to understand that life is a hell of a lot easier because we're not trying to live up to anyone else's understandings or what they think we should be. We aren't living through filters of what other people think about us. We are just fully expressing in every moment authentically, which means we're not planning what we're going to say. We're not planning what to say while the person's talking. We're receiving their words. We're listening to the smaller things in life that get unnoticed. And we know that we carry our vibe no matter what we come across. So if some energy doesn't serve us, we move away because who's to live in a place that's not good for us? Like, what is the point of that? If we can't help, it's time to exit. The reason we preserve our energy to create joy is because we want to be there for others. And in this way of being there, we show up as presence, as light, as help, information, and not someone who's going to tell you what to do, but someone who knows enough about how to steer and navigate their own ship that they can guide others and comfort others in their own storms. Someone who's learned to surf the waves so that they're not getting knocked down, and every once in a while they can help point another surfer in the right direction to learn. That doesn't mean we can save anyone. We can't. We accept people as they are. They rarely change. Study their patterns. I am someone who came from two narcissistic and abusive parents, and I do believe that I've made a change. I do believe we carry some of those traits out of the family, so my separation for this amount of time feels good because I feel authentic. I don't have to act through a mask to hide my mother's drinking problem or her abuse or money stealing or my dad's terrible behavior that I can't get into. But it's just, I don't have to do that anymore. And when someone's not burdening you with that, and or even better, when you say enough, which sometimes it's hard because sometimes people will trap you in every way. But when you say enough, you are totally free to be who you are inside. And when you find that person, if you haven't already, the joy is there because authenticity is joy. They are the same thing. When you're showing up 100% to what you're doing, 100% of you every time, every minute, 100%. Maybe you do it in sleep. Can you apply it elsewhere? That is joy. And there are so many other ways to find joy through the lessons that I teach. Every lesson gives you an opportunity to experience joy, if not within the lesson, then later. So there are all of these places in my YouTube channel where I'm trying to hint to joy and ease and things that we need to feel good. So if you have anything that I haven't mentioned that brings you joy, let me know. I would love to hear what brings others joy because we all have different hobbies and skills and even different understandings because we've all had different experiences. Let me know what's joyful for you, and I hope I've brought some joy to your day. Have a great one.